you're going to be estimating for your boundary dominated flow, a little transition time period between that linear flow period to that stabilized unit slope time periods. Looked at a really quick fractional RTA, got perfect uniformity at 0.5. I haven't really dove very much into that that theory, so I was a little nervous just pasting it in there and going forward, but was having it in the back of my mind and pushing just straight, just following all the rules going down. Was nervous walking into NRTA, exactly the same. I doubled my contacted OGIP from material balance to ARTA and started to think, I was like, wow, that's ARTA is telling me I could get 50, 60 BCF out of this well. That's a little uncomforting thought to it all. But so then did follow just a lot of standard default plots in RTA, and then I started getting comfortable. It did match a little bit better to what I saw in flowing material balance. And again, was kind of going through just thought process of, okay, I've checked 2 of 3 boxes so far at this point. Still not feeling super great about the ARTA part, but we'll just keep moving forward, see where we can go to. Got pretty good matches overall. Definitely saw the inclining gas time period. You see that when you flip it to the more moving average LFP plot, so that you do see that incline production those first 10 to 15 days, missing the plot to it. But a pretty good match once you kind of end your infinite acting time period. And for my model fits, the top part's just more the history matching time period on gas control. I did leave out that it was hard to see. I'm assuming purposely did not include how much frac water volume it was. So you knew proppant amount, but you did not know total fluid into it. So then kind of ignored that early time miss on the water rates for the total well, since it did end up matching the last year of production. And then felt pretty comfortable on the bottom hole pressure plots to it. So then with those similar, pretty good march down off of flowing material balance, contacted OGIP was on the lower side at 17 BCF, and on the NRTA, and then final numerical model moved out to about 24 BCF. And then 21 BCF on the gas EUR forecast. And so was feeling a little bit comfortable, since my DCA flowing material balance and NRTA model was all kind of syncing, but had that very bad feeling that ARTA still just didn't make sense. Did not like it, and just said, what I went actually the opposite way. And said, well, what would an RTA numerical model look like if I hit that ARTA big forecast, not believing that we, oddly enough, do have actually 40, 50 BCF wells inside our portfolio. I don't touch them, don't work on that, just know that they exist. So it's like maybe 60 BCF is possible. And so I had to really shift the numerical model quite a bit. Don't really agree with the fit. See, it doesn't even match to any of the type curve models to it, but it does hit a 60 BCF curve, and it was possible, but just didn't really want to recommend it. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the difference between Brian and I. I would definitely recommend that 50%. Okay, last presentation of this session. Before I'm going to summarize quickly, we're going to do the technical panel as recorded. The same well, same premise, and station George.
Hi everyone, just a disclaimer, which is an excuse for me. On this one, I didn't have the time, and I didn't ask about the inputs, which I can fairly see that we will get an answer. And the third one is that I just became a father, so sleeping was not an option there, so bear with me there. So a little bit of an outline. I'm gonna be real quick. It's just, I was asked to give EOR based on the analysis there, and that's what I'm gonna do. The only thing I wanted to add was DCA to look smarter, and we'll see how that looks. So I was asked to add the PVT, summary of the PVT. I don't know why, but it's there. The only thing I noticed is that just like my peers did, there's an outlier, I call it, but there was something going on the pressure, so I had to smooth it out and just work with that and see how the fit on the other tabs will go on. I created this plot because I didn't like how it looked in whitCon. Nothing personal there, but it's just like I just created a plot to see the difference between doing multi-phase and single phase, and you could tell a difference between the slopes. But if you read, we have two different scales on each side. So comparing both, I don't know if you can spot them, but there are not so significant differences when you do both, because for dry gas, you don't see this amount of significant difference in contact pore volume, or that's what I thought. You could prove me wrong. The other part is doing the analytical part, which is fairly straightforward. Same plot. I think my peers steal this one from me because it looks similar to what they have for identifying the flow regimes. I'm kidding. Don't take it personally. And then basically, I just come up with a linear flow parameter for each analytical, numerical, and then see how they define. So if you see the plot, let me just see the pointer here. Oh, here it is. So if you see this all gas in place, or if you compare the models, I kind of detected the same as I think it was Ryan, who saw this, and he already explained, so I'm not going to spend time there. I appreciate that. I'm just kidding. The reason I can find this is because linear flow in analytical assumes also that everything is homogeneous and everything, as Matthias said, keeps constant. So you could have that amount of oil gas in place, which physically doesn't make sense. So you have to come up with several analyses, which are here, to start kind of benchmarking your analysis on your own. So this is great. I say, okay, based on the numerical model, these four are in line to the contact pore volume. So I'm prone to think that the numerical analysis could give me a better answer. And when I say better, it's more like attached to the physics. It's not I'm saying analytical is wrong, it's just analytical is a starting point to begin with. You could see here, or you could argue my fits, but I mean, as I said, everything looks right. The one thing I want to point out here is that you could have non-uniqueness, as everyone said during the presentations that I enjoyed. The non-uniqueness, and it's a holy grail, is that we deal with A square of K to bandwidth that non-uniqueness, but at the end, we have to come up with a half length, we have to come up with an efficiency of completion, and all of those parameters, if you add them up, you start building some uncertainty or your analysis. So again, here's a decent history match. When I do the export parameters, don't mind the water, because I didn't do anything to the water, I did one sensitivity, and that's it. I said, I'm done. I need to feed the baby, and I'll leave this. But other than that, as you can see, the EOR is also in line to the EOR that, well, I shouldn't have said that. EOR is 21 BCF. I am not surprised of that number because I work with gas wells, so you guys are good there. Don't surprise there. What else? How can I add value to my analysis in the thought process? So I said, let's do probabilistic. It's available. It's quick. And let's do DCA. It's easy and also it's quick. So what I did is just, you see this plot, and I did this on purpose. I put it very, very, very small so you cannot see what happened. But I did, you could also do it, so it's very, very easy. The reason I just shrink it is because the time, so I didn't want to put it in another slide. So that's why I'm not cheating or anything like that. What else? The decline curve analysis, I could leverage the Acunius method for the fractional, so I use that to come up with a B factor. And then I use the Baudet derivative to also compute a daily B factor. So the line that you see there is the B factor that comes from the fractional flow, sorry, fractional numerical model, and then I'm just kind of comparing to the daily. So it's in line. I mean, I'm surprised that this is great and it's working. Well, not surprised. I like that it was like that. And then finally, I just come up with some models, DCA models, and the only change I'm making, as you can see, I'm fixing the B factor to be 1.2. The only change I'm making is the terminal decline, the holy grail. We're not going to live for, at least I'm not sure if I'm going to live 50 years to see how the world behaves, or even if I care how the world behaves at 50 years from now. But as you can see, the power law here is the most most conservative approach, and I've seen that they use that to come up with a terminal decline of a P10 there. And then you see this one on the green one is a 5% terminal decline. So if someone is using 5% and doing some testing here, you can have a wide range of parameters and nuance over there. Nothing new there. I didn't know that whitCon had a probabilistic or the probit plot, so I had to come up with my own, and I would love to use that one nowadays. So what I'm trying to point out here is that those sensitivity parameters that I showed on the plot earlier are here, and then the markers are the DCAs or even the numerical models here. So comparing them both, you can sense that some of the DCA are way far from the RTA results, but that doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It's just telling you that perhaps you should review your analysis and do a multidisciplinary job with your team. So final remarks there. Pre-processing data were like API connections that we have at NQT. So I didn't have to do anything, just sit down there and start my analysis right away. Multi-phase versus single phase, I didn't see any impact there. RTA could solve one question, but it will open many more, as we could tell here during the presentations. And that's why we get to do some real nice work. It's fairly quick if you are a decent analyzing your data as my peers, not like me. And then DCA and RTA could be leveraged together to come up with a good reasoning for forecast. Not a good forecast, a reasoning for forecast. All right, thank you.
So I'll summarize here right now, and we're going to get several of the panels. There's going to be 2 bar stools here and 2 bar stools there, and then we'll get help from some colleagues here to make sure they're on the back here of this screen. Again, what I kind of wanted to emphasize a little bit, my kind of hidden agenda for this last part of, it's been a long day, that's nothing to get, nothing to hide, but for now it's just a technical panel, it's going to be fun, because there's only great people on the panel, and it's also, well, we're not going to sit here anymore. But just to summarize this session, the problem statement was the same, LFP, OGIP in this case, and EUR, and we wanted to make sure that consistency was kept between the different presenters, so we didn't allow, or we had actually less degrees of freedom in terms of the input assumptions.